just wanna use your love tonight. I don't wanna lose your love tonight. I just wanna use your love tonight.
Welcome, legends, to another. Actually, it's the first episode of Luxury Updates. I say another because I've had several failed attempts at a Luxury Updates, and if you're a new time member, you've never been here before, considering this is actually the first episode. Luxury Updates is essentially aggregated a bunch of information that I've aggregated together across all different types of sources, you could call them, which are updates I would consider luxurious. Some type of information where it's not mainstreamed and it takes quite a bit of finding to actually find. And for, I want to say, about 5 years, I have designed my algorithms to provide me with information that constantly moves me up and constantly provides, how do I put it, progression into my life. Helps me understand a little bit more about how reality works, maybe even how technology is working, and mindset. Just about everything along the entire spectrum that you could possibly think of. And I've aggregated all of it together and then condensed it into one stream, into one video that I have been trying to shoot for the past month. I think it's been, I don't even know how long. I see I'm dropping frames all of a sudden, even though I'm getting crazy amounts of speed. It's a matrix attack. They don't want us to update anyone. So let's get back to it. I've taken a whole bunch of information across the entire spectrum of benefit that you could define it as, and I've essentially, I have a channel on my Instagram that I named Luxury Updates because everyone that was inside. So actually, let's start from the beginning. So when I designed my algorithms for the past couple of years, I was sending this information to a bunch of people, and I got tired of just sending them to a bunch of people all the time, just constantly adding on new direct message people in. And then I made a channel on Instagram called Luxury Updates, and those people joined. Actually, some of those people joined, not all of them, but that's where I started sending all that information, was to that channel. Well, then it occurred to me, if I have a channel and I get all this information, this is all relatively important information, and I'm sending it to these people, what is the chances other people might also want to learn this information? So I was like, well, why don't I just do a live stream of all that information inside of Luxury Updates? Well, throughout this whole process, I came to the understanding that when accessing Instagram on a computer and not on your cell phone, they don't allow you to even join channels, let alone look at them. So that was a hurdle I had to hop over. So now what I've done is I have completely layered all of the information into stories that I link on my page, on my Instagram page. And the aim was to take several bits of information that I post on my stories, that I send to people all across Instagram, and put them into these stories, and then I'll do a live stream and I'll tap into these because I'll put all of the videos within a week's time frame. Unfortunately for me now, it's been a month's time frame at least, and now I just have a whole bunch of videos in these stories, and I haven't been able to stream it because of problems with my MacBook, problems with my desktop, problems with OBS, problems with just like everything, man. Well, I finally have been able to stabilize a live stream. Now, granted, there is one more problem. Have you figured it out yet? The problem is the quality of this fucking camera, alright? That is the only... And listen, that is much better than anything else. Everything else disabled me from even doing this live stream. And now I've narrowed it all the way down to the quality of my camera. So, with that being said, I'm happy you've joined us today, and I hope you stick around because we got a lot to talk about, baby. And this is just another step in the right direction, at least how I would consider it, given that all this information, I soak up this information just daily. And to be honest with you, at some point I might just take it over to X, because X is just like the best, the best social media for getting current information. Now the problem with X is that, and they've been getting better about it, filtering out stuff that people don't need to see, specifically like sex. They've done a good job at getting rid of that. People dying. They had quite a bit of videos of people just dying in different scenarios, whether it was in shootings, whether it was in manslaughter, or just crazy shit, man. But I haven't seen any of those in a while. God bless. And so, and it's not like I don't like seeing that shit. I don't know why some people like to see morbid things like that, but hey, everyone's got their own preferences. Aside, yeah, I have also been tuning my algorithm on X to provide me with new current information. In fact, I think some of my biggest follows, or updates I should say, is Elon Musk, obviously, Andrew Tate. I just followed, and I'm going to start watching more of his content, Justin Walker. But aside from that, the information I get on Instagram is across all different kinds of channels, and some can be stoicism, some can be holistic medicine, some can be technology, AI. It's just crazy. It's crazy. Marketing, business, sales, all that stuff. It's incredible, the type of information that's been coming through to my Instagram for like a year now. And I'm so glad I designed my algorithm to just void out all the meme shit and void out all the useless bullshit, the brain rot, as people call it. I'm not a fan of TikTok, even though I hear that's a great place to grow. I just never got into looking at it. Truth be told, I actually enjoyed Vine when it was out, but I didn't watch Vine like how people watch TikTok. So, yeah. Not a huge fan of TikTok. I do like what they're doing as far as affiliates and their own shop and stuff like that. I don't know how... What's the word for it? I don't know how well that benefits people, but if it works for you, God bless you. We're all trying to make it out here, right? We're all trying to be a light in the darkness, as how I quote in my Mr. Anderson video coming out this Friday. And, I think this is a long enough intro. I think we should fucking get into it, right? So, it's been a long day. I was in my studio all day working on The Matrix, and it occurred to me, one of my favorite artists for my record label, Matty B43, he's only in one song on The Matrix, and it's one of the best songs, actually. And I asked him just a couple days ago, because we went out to eat. I asked him, hey, well, how come you didn't want to be on The Matrix? And he was like, I didn't think about it. I was like, well, it's almost done now, so a little late. But then it occurred to me, and what was really ironic is in my folder that I had on my Mac in my studio, I had a song. And it was the first song he had ever recorded on as an artist. And it was in my folder called The Matrix, but I hadn't actually considered it for the album. Well, sure enough, I opened up my studio, and I was looking on what I was going to work on, because I got everything to work on, and I saw it there, and I was like, why don't I take a peep at it? So I took a peep at it, and sure enough, his first verse, his recording, wasn't actually that bad for being his first. I was like, well, I could fix some quirks and kink out some shit in this. And sure enough, 6 hours went by of producing. It's still not done, but it's a lot better than when it started. And I'm very happy with how that is turning out. So it's very possible that will be added into The Matrix. And I'm on sort of a press for time, because I was supposed to come out with that this year. I'm still aiming to do that. But 28 songs, quite extensive, quite immaculate. But anyway, let's get on with the luxury updates, why, shall we? So, this is my Instagram. Quite a beaut, if I may say so myself. And here are the stories. In fact, if you want to give me a follow, feel free. I know if you're on mobile, somewhere around here, you'll actually be able to see the channel called Luxury Updates. And I encourage you to join. I do still update it, but you know, I have so much going on that you could just say fuck it and watch this instead. But anyway, we're going to go in order, and we're going to leave out this because this is just highlighting my last album that I came out with last year. So we can completely skip this, but we're going to go in order from Stoicism to the world news to what's actually inside the Luxury Updates channel onto my record label and see what new music I'm deciding to come out with after this point. Or I guess I could say next updates that are happening with that. I think Mr. Anderson's in there. Clips, not actual video, because that doesn't come out till Friday, obviously. But anyway, we're going to start. And what I'm going to do, because I keep forgetting, some of these are just shared. And that means they're only 15 seconds long on my story, which means I actually have to click onto the video itself to go watch the original. So, starting with Stoicism and the mindset, which I highly encourage you to have a stoic mindset, because it is the luxury of life to have such a mindset, to be able to, I guess a good way to put it is to be modest and to be dangerous at the same time. Because if you're dangerous, then if people fuck with you, in the sense of endangering you or anything that you love, you have the potential to fuck them up. But being modest in the sense that you wouldn't just for the fuck of it. Anyway, let's get into it. This was something I posted. It was all a part of the game. I can't read that. It's in the way. I can't even read that. And I can't even remember. Your destination. Yes. It was all a part of the game. Your destination, your ambitions, your placement. One wrong move, and it could all be over. Place your pieces carefully. And I also re-downloaded Word of the Day. And some of the words it brought me since downloading it very recently have been incredible. Like this one that quite literally defines my childhood. And we'll leave it at that. And then this one, which I've actually been using in my introduction when people ask me how I'm doing, and I tell them, I'm ineffable today, baby. I'm ineffable. I am wonderful, I'm excellent, and I'm ineffable. I hope the stream's coming in nice. It looks like I'm dropping frames again. We will wait for that to recover. It looks like it recovered. I don't know why it's even doing that in the first place, considering I turned down the bitrate, but I guess you never really know. So, on with the Stoicism. Okay, there we go. Gonna reload that one. Oh, I love it. Yep, just mute it. I want to apologize. It just occurred to me. You guys haven't been able to hear a damn thing that's been playing on my desktop Because they're probably asking, what the fuck is this? There's no audio. Alright, well, we don't have to listen to the music because I had spoken about these. But
What was your
we'll start back here.
Engineer for the rocket, but it...
Reload it, unmute it.
Biggest failure, and how did that change you?
Oh, I have to really think hard about that. Failure. Never heard of it.
There's your answer.
Well, there's a ton of failures along the way, that's for sure. For SpaceX, the first 3 launches failed, and we're just barely able to scrape together enough parts and money to do the 4th launch. If that 4th launch had failed, we would have been dead. So multiple failures along the way. I tried very hard to get the right expertise in for SpaceX. I tried hard to find a great chief engineer for the rocket, but the good chief engineers wouldn't join, and the bad ones, well, there was no point in hiring them. So I ended up being chief engineer of the rocket. So if I could have found somebody better, then we would have maybe had less than 3 failures.
What was your biggest failure?
Failures only tell you where there needs to be correction. And no, we're not perfectionists. I'm sorry. We can be perfectionists, but nothing can ever be perfect. Therefore, through trial and error is where we make correction. Right, meow meow? Through trial and error is where we make correction. Revise and improvise. Speed is everything. All right, let's move on. Ah, yes.
Found it.
The quote.
What was your big...
All right, I stole the quote. I found it. Had to go outside for this one. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, therefore, is not an act.
Imagine you talk to the creator of the universe.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, I thought that one would have gone
All
all
right.
the way through.
I stole the quote. I found it. Had to go outside for this one. We are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, therefore, is not an act. It is a habit.
Wonderful.
What was your...
Imagine you talk to the creator of the universe before birth and pick the person you get to become. You say, I want to be the most courageous. The creator replies and says, well, then I will give you monsters to terrify you so that you can conquer them. Then you say, well, I want to be patient. Well, then I will make you work harder and longer so you can learn to wait. I want to be wise. And the creator replies, then I will give you failures that will crush your spirit so you can learn the value of judgment. You then say, sounds like a rough life. Can you give me a good life? The creator replies, just like we measure the quality of a blacksmith by the strength of his steel, I measure you by what you are at the end, not the fire and the hammer it took to make you. A good life isn't a life that's easy. A good life is a life that makes you into a good person. And that, my son, is a hard life. Imagine you talk to the creator of the universe before birth. And
Amen.
imagine you talk to...
Shout out Donald Trump for making 47th president. Shout out Mr. Trump.
Greatness doesn't discriminate. It doesn't see where you're from, what you look like, or who you know. Greatness is for those who work for it, for those who keep moving forward. Greatness is for anyone willing to fight for it.
Amen.
Imagine you talk...
You cannot defeat a man who has survived the darkest times of his life alone. Nothing ever happened.
I'm going to give you two.
This one's great.
I'm going to give you 2 pieces of advice. The first one is, as you become successful, never forget God. You will be tempted to forget your first love, the one that put you where you are. Never forget. And then the second thing is study Newton's third law. Newton's third law states that for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. And it's the principle of sowing and reaping. That for everything that you input into the world, you will output in equal proportion to that which you input. This is a fundamental law of the universe, right? If you go to the gym X amount of times, you will obtain X result in accordance to the effort that you put in. I'm going to give you two pieces of advice. The first one is
He's absolutely right. That is all we have for Stoicism. And given Stoicism's only supposed to improve mindset, now we move on to the world news. The news that you probably don't hear about. But since MSNBC is up for grabs and Elon's thinking about buying it, it's probably just a meme. That would be cool if he took all the information, all the top current information globally from X and started uploading it as MSNBC after purchasing. That would be awesome.
And what do you think is
If you're unaware about the food industry, you should really read up on it, especially if you're in America. If you're not in America, you're probably all right, but I would still look up.
What do you think is driving the obesity epidemic? It's being driven by poison food, by ultra-processed wheat, sugar, and flour, seed oils, soy, canola, sunflower, and then, wheat and corn, which are all heavily subsidized. 90% of farm subsidies, the crop insurance, etc., go to those three categories of soy, corn, and wheat. And those are the feedstocks for all of our processed foods. They turn into sugar. They're all nutrient barren. The original crops were nutrient rich, but the GMO crops are nutrient barren, and they're heavily dependent on pesticides. The reason GMOs are so popular is because they're resistant to pests. The reason they're resistant to pests is because they are resistant to pesticides like glyphosate. So you can saturate the whole landscape with glyphosate from airplanes, and that the only thing that's green is GMO corn, which is Roundup Ready. It's called Roundup resistant corn. And because of that, it's also very heavily laden with pesticides. Glyphosate is also used as a desiccant, which means it dries out wheat, so it's sprayed on the wheat right at harvest, which means it's going right into the food. And when that began in 1993, that's when you saw all the appearance of all these gluten allergies and celiac disease and wheat allergies that you don't have in Europe. You can eat spaghetti here and you're going to get eczema and all of these stomach complaints. Then you go to Italy and you eat it and you get thin. Mm-hmm. And then the corn is turned into high fructose corn syrup, which is just a formula for making you obese and diabetic.
He's right.
And what do you...
And you know where it originated? It originated when farmers wouldn't dig up new soil. They would just replant on top of old soil. And that's what he means by nutrient barren, is that the soil that's supposed to provide the crops nutrients don't provide the crops nutrients anymore. And in turn, while trying to get rid of pests and bugs off of the crops, they just spray them with pesticides, which makes them even more nutrient barren. So America's food industry has been fucked. That's okay, because we got Robert F. Kennedy in there now. I love Robert, but truthfully, I don't like the fact that he always sounds like he's dying when he talks.
What do you think is driving the obesity epidemic?
Okinawans live to 100.
Love this doctor. I don't know where he's from. I don't even know
Okinawans live to 100. They eat mostly starch. Then you have the Eskimos who never eat starch. They only eat meat. They eat fish all the time. And once in a while they'll go and eat some seaweed. They live to 100. Then the Maasai tribes in East Africa, and I'm familiar with them because I'm an African, they drink blood and they drink milk. And once in a while that cow dies, then they'll eat the cow. And they live to 100. What's wrong with all these people? How come? The one thing they all have in common is not this diet, that diet, meat, no meat. One thing they all have in common, all eat non-processed food, natural food. That's what they eat. Okinawan.
Non-processed food.
And what do you...
Okinawan.
I can't remember how many food ones there are in this, but we shall continue.
What if I'm addicted to stress? What if I'm addicted to stress?
Have you tried nootropics?
How do you feel about nicotine?
Let me check.
Is that what that spray is?
Losing your mind, your ability to think, is so scary.
It's terrifying.
My career was taken off in Silicon Valley, but my brain was gone. Even though I had this killer job, I'm faking it half the time. I don't remember anything. And I went to a psychiatrist, and he looked at me. It was like, oh, tech bro wants Adderall. I've seen this before.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, give me one of Dr. Amon's brain scans. I came back into his office, and he looked at the scan. He looked at me, and he said, Dave, inside your brain is total chaos. You have the best camouflage I've ever seen. I don't know how you're standing here in front of me. And I was like, thank God. I have a hardware problem. I can fix that. It's not that I'm not trying. It's not that it's like a moral failing. I'm not stupid. It's that my hardware is jacked. And since then, I've just been interested in cognitive performance and longevity. I have more energy than I ever have, and I don't have pain in my body. It's ridiculous. What they teach doctors in medical school is if they have more than 3 or 4 symptoms, they're a hypochondriac by definition. And this is why I think biohacking is so important. It's not your doctor's job to make you well. It's only your job. You hire your doctor, you hire your health coach, you go online and go to Reddit, wherever. Only you own this.
Amen. And a lot of people don't know that your body is naturally designed to heal itself, just like your heart is naturally designed to beat for you, just like your lungs are naturally designed to breathe for you. You don't constantly think about pumping your heart, and you don't constantly feel like, or you don't constantly force yourself to breathe. Like when it comes to meditation, that's much different, and I highly encourage meditation, especially breathing techniques through the nose. But the body's designed to take care of itself, given you supply it with the right nutrients. That tethers back in, or ties back into the food industry, providing us with bullshit and processed foods. So we need an update.
And what
if I'm addicted?
This is awesome. It's scary, but this is awesome.
Probably none of us will have a job. There will be, but in that benign scenario, there will be universal high income, not universal basic income, universal high income. There will be no shortage of goods or services. And I think the benign scenario is the most likely scenario, probably, 80% likely, if you ask, in my opinion. The question will not be one of lacking goods or services. You'll have, everyone will have access to as much in the way of goods and services as they would like. The question will really be one of meaning, of how, if the computer can do, and the robots can do everything better than you, then does your life have meaning? Probably none of us.
And what do you think is driving
the AI singularity is taking over?
I'm gonna go.
More food?
I'm gonna go into the Palace of Poison and show you 3 things to stay away from if you want to live a long, healthy, quality life. First up, fresh produce is not so fresh. Check your PLU numbers. If it starts with a 3, it's conventionally grown. It means the pesticides are applied systemically through the roots. There's also chemical wax coatings on top to increase shelf life. Go to the organic section where you can actually wash the pesticides off and make
Not all organic sections tell the truth. Keep that in mind.
sure that your PLU number starts with a 9. Stay away from the bad 3, strawberries, blueberries, blackberries, raspberries. Berries in general, they get hit the hardest with insecticides, pesticides, and herbicides. The not so fresh deli counter has unbelievable amounts of nitrates that can really do some damage on your kidneys if you expose them to a lot of processing. Majority of people that are shopping here have to, and that's part of the problem. Get into a farmer's market and figure out a way to feed your family some local grown generational farming food that's real, not genetically modified or adulterated with pesticides and chemicals. The way that the seed oils and peanut butter are processed with that high temperature actually really does bad for your system in the way that it interacts with all of those seed oils for inflammation. And there's also formaldehyde in Jif. I'm gonna go into the Palace of
I don't know why I added peanut butter.
And what do you think is driving you?
What if I'm addicted?
Keep that in mind.
I'm gonna.
If he
This was great before Trump got elected, man. This shit killed me.
If he loses, man, what? You're fucked, dude.
I'm fucked. If he loses, I'm fucked.
It does seem that way. You can't just be like, yo,
Yeah, I'm like, how long do you think my prison sentence is going to be? Do you think? Will I see my children? I don't know.
because it's not like you can say, well, yeah, I maxed out to him, but, you know, I get...
I have no plausible deniability. No. No, and I've been trashing Kamala nonstop.
Oh, I know!
Well, I mean, the Kamala puppet, I call it, you know. The machine that the Kamala puppet represents.
Love Tucker, love Elon.
I can take a skin.
This guy, if I can remember his name, or I can remember his last name, Billy Carson. Billy Carson, and I forget the other man's name. These guys are incredible. These guys are incredible, man.
I can take a skin cell from you. I can put it into a culture, turn that skin cell into a stem cell. Then I can culture that and turn that stem cell into a group of stem cells. Then I can take that group of stem cells and I can put it into an artificial womb and I can actually grow a synthetic embryo. They've been successfully doing this all around the world in laboratories. They claim that they're killing this synthetic embryo when it gets to a certain age, but who's really overseeing all these synthetic embryos? I doubt that they're all being killed. Now, they can grow that synthetic embryo to any age because of the Avatar project at DARPA and because of the 2045 project. They've developed the ability to transfer
If you don't believe what he's saying, go do your research.
consciousness
It's right here. You just watched it.
into another body. They've been working on this for a long time. Where did they get this information? The Emerald Tablets. The Emerald Tablets talked about this 36,000 years ago. I can take a...
The Anunnaki.
And what do you think is...
What if I'm gonna go in...
I can take a skin...
You're 47. You're 47. What is the likelihood that you personally will go to Mars?
70%.
This could be an escape hatch for rich people.
No, your probability of dying on Mars is much higher than Earth. Really, the app of going to Mars would be like Shackleton's app of going to the Antarctic. It's going to be hard. There's a good chance of death. Going in a little can through deep space. You might land successfully. Once you land successfully, there will be you'll be working non-stop to build the base. So you're not much time for leisure. And once you get there, even after doing all this, there's a very harsh environment, so there's a good chance you die there. We think you can come back, but we're not sure. Now, does that sound like an escape hatch for rich people?
You're 47.
We think you can come back, but we're not sure.
And what do you think is...
You're 40.
Donald Trump's not even president yet. Have you seen what's happened in the last 48 hours? The misogynist appoints the first ever woman to be chief of staff. The Taliban announced they want peace with America and to be taken off the terrorist list. Putin came out and said that Western civilization is not an enemy. Mexico has started securing the border in, of course, response to tariff threats. Saudi Arabia is kicking out all of their Hamas leaders. New York is cleaning up their illegal migrant crisis. Xi Jinping came out and said he wants to peacefully coexist with China and said that they respect American people. The European Union chief finally came out and said, hey, America, can we start buying LNG from you so they stop buying from Russian gas? Putin says he takes Donald Trump's plan to end the war with Ukraine very seriously and Russia supports it. The Houthis are stepping back. The Hamas called for an immediate end to war. He's calling for term limits in from Congress so that way people like Nancy Pelosi stop being forever members. Stock markets and crypto hit all-time highs. He sent Kamala Harris and Hillary Clinton into depression.
Well...
I actually did get that post on X, and I posted it myself, so... And he fact check it. That shit's correct. All of it's correct. Yeah. Central banks. What a lovely invention, right?
Well, I'm a bank, Brian, and I borrow money and I lend it out, and I charge more to the people I'm lending it to than I pay to the people from whom I'm borrowing it.
Well, who do you borrow money from?
Well, from, depositors, Brian. Have you got $1?
Well, yeah,
I
sure.
borrow your $1 and I give you, there's your bank balance.
$1?
$1.
Right, okay, and you pay interest to me on that?
I do, but I also charge you fees.
Well, why do you charge me fees?
Because, Brian, I'm looking after your money. Your money is secure with me. I'm a bank. I mean, this is a very important amount of money. This is probably your nest egg. It's safe with us.
And how much interest do you pay me?
approximately the same as I'm charging you in fees.
Oh, good deal for me.
Well, your money's secure with us, Brian, and I then lend that money to businesses, and those businesses generate income. This is how we build an economy.
Yeah. And they put that income into the bank.
They do, of course, Brian, and that builds the savings pool, and we can invest more money.
Well, who do you lend that to?
Well, to people who need credit, Brian. You see, money creates more money, so if we can create money that creates more money, we're broadening the economy, we're expanding it all the time. Yes.
But shouldn't people just buy the can afford?
You don't need to afford the things you're buying, Brian. You need to afford the interest on the money you need to borrow in order to buy them.
And you're charging higher rates for all this?
We do hop into them a wee bit on the credit rate, Brian. We stick the hydraulics under that because it's a slightly higher risk strategy.
Do people need to be buying these things that they can't afford?
Obviously they think so, Brian. I mean, these things are advertised to people as very necessary, very important and deeply, deeply attractive.
Well, who's advertising things that people don't need?
The companies we're lending the money to. Well...
what a scam! What a global scam.
And what do you think?
Donald.
When you look...
This shit's crazy. Do your research on the World Health Organization.
When you look at the one thing that would prove the globe Earth, or the one thing that would disprove the flat Earth, what is it?
I don't know, you tell me.
It would be a linear flight path, okay? A linear traverse directly down past South America, down to Antarctica, and without breaking that straight linear path, continuing through the continent and back up the other side into the Indian Ocean. Like, this would literally end the debate. It would be the single biggest piece of evidence for the global model.
They've done it already. It was called One More Orbit.
Right. Except they actually didn't look at their flight path. So they left off the tip off South Africa. They went to the 90-degree South Pole mark. And then they literally hit a sharp 60-degree turn towards South America. They never crossed over. They didn't even alternate sides of the hemisphere. They evaded a linear path.
My God. What the hell? No, it can't be.
Yeah, man, I know. Globers will still refer to the One More Orbit expedition as if it disproves anything. Meanwhile, they never really look into the intricacies of anything. This is exactly why they just believe whatever they're told. When you look at the one thing that would prove the globe Earth...
He called it One More Orbit. Look it up. One More Orbit.
And what do you think?
Well, I'm a bank, Brian.
When
we go from fighting
taxes.
We go from fighting a revolution over a 2% tax on a breakfast beverage to what we pay today. We're taxed on money when we receive it, when we spend it, when we keep it, when we invest it, and even when we die with it. We commute to work to make that money in a car that is taxed again to register on roads we're already taxed to build, fueled by gas that is taxed in many times through tolls that tax you again. But that's to maintain bridges and highways and tunnels that already have billions of dollars, taxpayer dollars, allocated to them, and they're still falling apart. Then when you get to your office that is taxed to exist, in a corporation that also taxed to do business, that almost certainly requires permits and other things, which are another tax, you are paid a paycheck that the corporation must match another payroll tax on top of what they have to pay you. Then you go to a home of which you are taxed to own every single year that we bought with money that the government already taxed us on. The more money you make and the more you pay in taxes warrants the government taking more and even higher percentages of your money. Now, if you're angry, hold that thought. Our federal tax code is 2,600 pages, 400 pages longer than the unabridged version of the Webster Dictionary. But if you read that tax law cover to cover and you did your taxes solely based on that, probably go to jail. Why? Because that does not include the over 9,000 pages of additional IRS regulations that were never passed into law, but rather written by some bureaucrat sitting in his office that we still have to abide by. Congress never passed that. We go from fighting a revolution.
Taxes. You gotta love them. And isn't that crazy? We pay all this in taxes, yet we're still in debt. We're still in debt. Shit, I'm pretty sure right now I don't know the exact values, but somehow we added on more debt.
And what
if I'm more debt?
Donald Trump.
We lost more money than what we brought in. Again. It's crazy, man.
When you
we go from
with
this man. Yes, I forget his name. Yes, man. This guy. this guy.
With linchpins, when 4 of them come together, you'll see what Tesla was talking about 3, 6, and 9. You'll see 1, 2, and then 3.
Nikola Tesla.
3 of the shafts bond. Then the next one will be, you'll see 6 bond. And they're about to make a magnetic bond. And when I say magnetism or magnetic, I'm saying they're about to expand out. As you can see, it's expanding from the center. And now you'll see 9 come in. And when Tesla said, if mankind understood the magnificence of 3, 6, and 9, he'll have the keys to the secrets of the universe. You know, this doesn't happen by accident, and it repeats that same tetrahedral form when 4 of them come together. And then 8 of them will come to, or 4 of these will come together and still repeat the same pattern.
Wow.
That fractal pattern. And what's really beautiful and ties everything together, you'll see that all of the 4 bond. Here, let's pull it up.
This is what really sold me on your work.
All of them come around the tetrad.
Yeah. This is what sold me. This is what made me say, man, this guy figured out something that's so incredible, so dynamic. This is what should be on the mainstream news every night instead of the garbage that they've been feeding us. This is going to force science to rewrite books.
This is the fractal.
Yes.
With linchpins, when 4 of them come.
Terrence Howard, Billy Carson.
And what do you think is
Incredible
driving
people. They're not philosophers. They're scientists of some kind. Maybe they are philanthropists? They're not philosophers. Are they philanthropists? I don't know. Anyway, on to the luxury updates. If you are not inside the channel, you can simply click on the story. We'll go back. You can simply click on this story here, and this is the first thing that pops up. And if I was on my phone, you can click this join channel, and you will get all the updates directly. And I do post a lot of stuff in there regularly, and with crypto being a driving source of people's attention, I have been posting a lot of crypto things in there. So anyway, we shall continue.
40 years ago, the most advanced video game would be like Pong, where you had like 2 rectangles and a dot. You're like batting it back and forth. And that was like, wow, that was a pretty fun game at the time. But now,
I told you we had a lot to talk about today. It's like a month worth of stuff.
you can see a video game that's photorealistic, almost photorealistic, and millions of people playing simultaneously. And you see where things are going with virtual reality and augmented reality. And if you extrapolate that out into the future with any rate of progress at all, like even 0.1% or something like that a year, then eventually those games will be indistinguishable from reality. They'll be so realistic, you will not be able to tell the difference between that game and the reality as we know it. And then
Unreal Engine 6.
it seems like, well, how do we know that that didn't happen in the past and that we're not in one of those games ourselves? 40 years ago, the most advanced video game would be...
I mean, if you look at the code, if you do some research in quantum physics and you look at the code,
The system 40 years.
You look at the code between what's inside of the internet and the UI interface. I could be butchering this. It is the exact same code that is found within the fabric of reality through dark matter. Look it up. It's pretty insane.
The system of education, the way that people are currently learning, is based off of old models of civilization. It's not whether it's right or wrong. It's, is it the best? And that's what people need to be thinking when you talk about university, high school, middle school. People get defensive. Bro, why are you defensive? Like, it's not your mom, it's not your dad. Like, relax. This university isn't your end all be all. It's not your family crest. Relax. Is it the best thing? Is it the best option? If I go to university, half of the courses are outdated. Half of the people that are teaching are broke. Half of the people haven't even spent time utilizing artificial intelligence or utilizing automation tools that are going to become the obvious tools of the future. Today, there's other alternatives. So what are the alternatives that you're trying to understand? If you want to be winning in the future, and if you want to be connected to the best people in the future, you have to be building in the future. So what am I going to do? I'm going to educate people the best practices, the best business models, the best ideas, the best belief systems, the best learnings and teachings that are going to be practical and useful in the future. Machine learning, artificial intelligence, public relations, human connection, psychology. The intrinsic sciences that we were told for over the last 100 years were soft and not necessary, that we needed to focus on hard work and clocking in at 9 and leaving at 5. The machines are going to do that. We're not going to do that anymore. We were under the Prussian school system. Henry Ford needed people to labor so that the car could be produced. Today, go to a Tesla factory, there's only engineers coming up with optimizations to get the car out as soon as possible. So the focus is where? On the machine.
Robots.
Once the machine operates, it can do its thing. People can kind of go and relax. That's why we see a lot of these super geniuses now thinking about universal basic income. Because Sam Altman talked about this idea of UBI and being like, what happens when half of society doesn't have jobs? Oh, well, that's so far-fetched, but it can happen in 25 years. So it's not like we're talking about some foreign concept, because technology is advancing so quickly. It's no longer 1912. That technology slowly kind of increases. We have Moore's law. Technology increases at double the speed at half the cost every 2 years. And I'm building and trying to position myself into the future. So that's kind of what I'm doing, building and educating people into what's going to be the future. We talk about crypto, the decentralization and the technological revolution of money, the technological revolution of education, the technological revolution of self-development. I think that's going to be something that people are going to begin to realize is super important, because what the fuck are you going to do with your time if you are not leveling up? It's becoming popular. We see biohacking, self-development becoming metas, people realizing that they don't need to have a full enterprise in order to make money.
You can call me crazy for this idea, but I know it's coming. China already rolled out their CBDC, and that's how they work their social credit score system, is through that. So in a hypothetical scenario, if you do something against the law, your account is automatically deducted money of the CBDC, central bank digital currency, which is a crypto, and you don't have a choice because it affects your social credit score, and you can run out of money that way. Now, it wouldn't be that far-fetched to think that America would do this, because in a hypothetical reality where nobody is working, they would simply just live off of the government or a CBDC, which can easily get can get transferred into your account, completely fabricated by the internet, and with robots doing all of the nitty-gritty hard work. That is how you live. But they can also restrict what you buy with a CBDC. And I don't know enough about China's economy and how they run things over there to tell you how CBDCs work as far as within the entire country and all that. I just know that it would not be far-fetched to assume that America would do this, especially under democratic rule. So we got 4 years left. We are so fucking here right now. We need to level up. So, by the way, the reason why I'm saying we are so fucking here instead of we are so fucking back is because this is the first luxury updates. So we are so fucking here right now.
This company 3D. The system.
Elon Musk says by the end of 2026, we should be able to witness the AI singularity, meaning the advancement of AI beyond human comprehension. 2 years, people.
You win.
2 years, people. We're looking at the AI singularity.
This company.
I was just talking to someone about this. I gotta send them this.
This company 3D printed an entire neighborhood. All those houses were printed with those giant machines. But get this, because they're printed, people can design wild looking homes that are actually affordable to build. The company behind this is called Icon. And to build their homes, they designed two state-of-the-art robots, the Vulcan and the Phoenix. Now the Phoenix is an insane feat of engineering. It's a multi-story crane that can lay an entire home foundation in just 24 hours. But here's where it gets wild. Icon also built Vitruvius, an AI architect. You just type in what kind of house you want, bedrooms, bathrooms, style, and it helps you custom build your dream home. They have hundreds of unique designs, and the customization is nearly endless. But here's why this all really matters. Companies like Icon could help solve the housing crisis. They think they can get construction costs down below $25 per square foot. That's 8 times lower than California. All these design concepts you're seeing cost less than $99,000 to build. And one more thing, Icon's using that same 3D tech to build test structures for Mars. And not gonna lie, that Mars 2-bed, 2-bath is looking pretty sweet. This company 3D...
It is so sick. I was literally telling someone about this earlier. I didn't know I had the video on luxury updates, so I gotta send that to him.
The system.
This company...
We're going to Mars, baby! We're going to the moon! Shout out Elon. Someone tag Elon in this video.
This is the future of animation. It's called Act 1. This is the future of animation. It's called Act 1 by Runway. What you're seeing is an animated character, but the voice, expressions, pacing, even those micro eye lines are all generated from one take by a human actor. It's kind of like Memoji, but on level 100. Now there's some pretty crazy things going on here. For one, because it's AI, you can generate an infinite amount of characters from a single human performance, all at different camera angles. So imagine you're a director. With one take, you can print 50 different character options. And that's pretty nuts, but here's the part that really blew my mind. It's one thing to have a human voice over an animated character. We've seen that before. But look at this. It's a multicam dialogue scene between two different characters. And here's the crazy part. They're both being controlled by the same guy. And this is wild because it means that a single person is going to be able to build full cinematic universes with just their imagination. Today it takes...
I plan on doing this for music videos for The Matrix.
The Pixar animator a full week to animate 4 seconds of film. And these tools won't replace them, it'll help them make 100 times more movies. It's the studios that are in trouble because now every creative can have Hollywood in their pocket. This is the future of animation. It's called Act 1 by Runway.
By Runway. Runway is so good. Runway is so good. Act 1.
This company... This is...
Okay.
Check this out.
Okay, very easy. Let's remove the background. When we click it, our harmonization model in the back end will help us to automatically adjust the lighting and color. So honestly, remove background and compositing.
Wow. Wow.
And you know what's the deal. Remove background, harmonize. Our model is not just for human, it also generalizes to objects and animals.
Wow.
Wow. It's crazy.
Look at the before and after. Let's try to remove background and click harmonize one more time to see what our model can handle for this kind of cases. Just a few seconds. Look at that. Okay. Very easy. Let's remove the back.
Insanity.
This is the future.
That's just for creation as far as videos go. It's crazy. Like, oh my God.
Okay.
We're excelling so fast as a human race. The only thing we actually have to be worried about is the AI singularity being better than us and understanding that and going rogue, which is not impossible. We're trying to minimize the possibility, quoted by Elon Musk, but it is not impossible.
Skydio dock for...
It's crazy how the connection is telling me that I have so much uploading power and I'm still dropping frames somehow.
X10. Station docked X10s where critical work happens. Get airborne in 20 seconds. Operate remotely from anywhere in the world and get the data you need to act. For public safety agencies, Skydio DFR Command is the ultimate software suite for drone operations. Respond to incidents with a single click, share live video with ReadyLink, and use augmented reality overlays for precise visual orientation. Manage your fleet, upload evidence, and build community trust. It's all at your command.
Used by the communist country.
Okay.
I know why Elon Musk bought Twitter, changed the name, and lost $25 billion on purpose. Hear this theory out. So if you have a public company, you have to declare when it sells and changes shareholders. Elon bought Twitter, renamed it X, made it private, sold the company to another company that he also owns with the exact same shareholders in it for $19 billion, which was the recent value. This created a $25 billion paper loss that Elon probably used to cover up gains on other companies, allowing him to still remain in control, still own the company, and show a $25 billion loss on paper. And he can do this because the tax code allows you to take capital losses and apply them to capital gains in the same tax year and roll those capital losses forward. And he doesn't have to disclose who the shareholders are or the sale of those stocks between shareholders because you don't have to declare that in a private company. I know why Elon Musk...
Listen, the people who wrote tax codes would not have wrote tax codes to fuck themselves over. Keep that in mind.
I know.
This is awesome.
I know.
This is the doctor's office. This is the doctor's office of the future. It's called the CarePod. But here's what's crazy. There's no medical professionals inside. No doctors, no nurses. The whole experience is automated and feels like it's from the future. When you walk into a CarePod, you choose from a series of health apps on the screen. Preliminary body scans, genetic tests, heart health, whatever you need. And this thing is loaded with sensors. It takes full biometrics and scans your entire body. Now the goal is to give you the fastest path to medical testing without being slowed down by insurance checks or busy waiting rooms. But here's the coolest part. They think of CarePod kind of like a medical vending machine. When a patient wants a test, the pod opens a drawer and literally dispenses everything you need. You take the equipment, run the test, and put it right back into the machine. That data is then uploaded and sent remotely to doctors so they can analyze it. This whole system was built by a company called Forward. And I gotta say, their vision is bold. They want to put one of these on every single street corner. And you can imagine how powerful that'd be. Today they offer 86 different tests. And the vision is that you could pop into one of these pods every couple weeks, check in, do a scan, and they would track your health metrics over time. And I don't know about you, but that's kind of what I want my healthcare experience to look like. Preventative, not just reactionary when something bad happens. Overall, what looks more enjoyable to you? This or this? This is the doc.
Recently, Kamala entered the race, and it seemed as though she appeared on a lot of people's TikTok feeds, and there were a lot of positive comments with tons of likes toward her. From what you know about content distribution and kind of coming out of nowhere, what do you think they did to engineer that?
You can sway votes. There's a project called Project Judas out of Israel that created fake profiles. I think there's about 30,000 of them. And they were all perfectly interlinked profiles. And that's why you see some of these guys that have mastered distribution get clamped down on, maybe thrown in jail, because they've cracked the way to communicate with the public, which was what? The gate between the talent and the audience. Today, the talent or the individual doesn't need the distribution because we have the technology. But what are they trying to do? Now clamp down on the technology. In the near future, when AI is advanced enough, they'll be able to clamp down on all distribution videos of something that they don't want. Today, they're pretty decent at it. In 3, 4, 5 years, they will be excellent at it. It'll be trained and developed. So we only have a period of time until we can see what we want to see before we are only seeing what we're forced to see.
Recently, Kamala entered the race.
Yep. It's all about control. Having
Recently,
the most power. This is cool. AI technology is
This is the
insane. Easy automation, Delta robot perfectly packed. He butchered the term of that fruit.
I know why.
Sweet,
This is the
Recently,
Do you know what magazine?
Patrick Bet Davidson. Love this guy.
Do you know what magazine is for sale effective yesterday? Time Magazine. Do you know who owns Time Magazine?
MSNBC.
Mark Benioff. Do you know who Mark Benioff is? He owns what company? Salesforce. Do you know what his net worth is? $10.7 billion. You know who turned down an interview to Time Magazine just a month ago? Kamala Harris. You know what he bought Time Magazine for? $190 million. Do you know how many subscribers Time Magazine had when he bought them? 4 million. Do you know how many subscribers Time Magazine has today? 1.6 million. Wow. Do you know WAPO, when Bezos came out and says, I don't give a shit if I lose subscribers, 2.5 million subscribers, he says, I'm not endorsing Kamala. Overnight loses 200,000 subscribers, bunch of employees. LA Times loses employees. 200 papers, including USA Today, who typically would have endorsed the left, said we're not doing it. Comcast came out, they're like, look, all these other businesses we own, they're performing. Roku, performing. All these other guys are performing. Does anybody want to buy MSNBC? And I was like, no. Does anybody want to buy CNN? No, we don't want to buy them. By the way, CNN and MSNBC, celebrity people that get up there thinking you're very important, your salary's been declining because they're no longer making money. And the reason why you're seeing these CNN people bashing Kamala, showing a clip that one page is her doing what John Kerry did in 2004, I believe, the flip-flop and stuff. Why are they doing it? If you don't, you're out of business. If you're out of business, no one's paying you. These people that are watching, they're just saying, who can I trust? No wonder Rogan is the #1 podcast in the world in 94 countries, because people trust the guy. Tucker is 2-3. Theo Vaughn, maybe one of the best podcasters out there. Funny as hell, top 5. This guy Sean Ryan coming out there doing interviews, blowing up all over the place. Yourself, all these guys, why are people going to them? The market is shifting, disruption at the highest level, and a lot of these guys are used to doing this. We just got a report right now. They don't know how to do this. And American people just want to do this because you know what this is? By the way, if we right now were having dinner, our dinner sounds like a podcast. People would sit there and say, wow, what was that all about? It's a great conversation. This is what America and the world is begging for. Yo! Mainstream, they're done with you. You are manipulating and they're done. The market is no longer working and they're walking away. Not because we have some fancy degrees, because people trust being real and sincere. Very simple, and the market's always right. Do you know what magazine is for sale?
Boom, bada bang. I think that was the last one of the thread.
Do you know what
Yep. All right. So now we're on to my record label, Clout Production and Luxury Sound. These are, well, since they're a month old, some are new, some are old, but yeah, we'll go through them real quick. So this was back when Matty B43 came out with his first music video called My City. If you haven't seen that, go check it out. It's awesome. It is absolutely incredible. This was back before I made my music video, The Notorious Prodigy 3. This was to highlight the intro for Notorious Prodigy 3. Which, the entirety of the Notorious Prodigy 3 was just incredible. Just incredible. Maybe you won't learn to make up shit about me. Especially when you're wise. What you are about to witness will break the code. TNP3. The Matrix. Incredible. Highlighting that I hit 1,000 all-time plays on Apple Music. I don't have Apple Music myself. I just update it. TNP3. The official soundtrack, you can listen to it on any streaming platform, but the video's on YouTube and Rumble. I don't want to even showcase this on YouTube. Rumble's the man. Rumble, listen, I figured out the other day that Rumble has a better streaming quality and playback quality than YouTube, believe it or not. Rumble's on top. It's decentralized. You can use freedom of speech on Rumble. They won't censor you. And on top of it, they got better quality than YouTube.
It's how you become.
Yep. TNP3, baby.
It's how you become the greatest. I'm proud of the ones who joined me.
If you haven't seen the Notorious Prodigy 3,
and I'm thankful for the ones that left.
Go watch it. It's one of the best things I've ever made.
You will never be the best at anything.
Make sure you watch it in 4K.
You await your own demise.
TNP3 on all streaming platforms. Video on Rumble and YouTube. Go watch it.
It's
absolutely incredible. So, Trump became president, and I came out with a song, which was a remix of Donald Trump by Mac Miller. YouTube already banned it, but you can still hear it on Rumble. You can still hear it on Rumble. I couldn't distribute it because I didn't have rights to the composition. But yeah, you can still hear it. It's on Rumble. They're not going to censor it. Mr. Anderson. Mr. Anderson. Another awesome piece of work that I have created. Comes out this Friday.
Through the ups and downs.
This past Friday, we just came out with Matty B43's most incredible song and video. His most incredible, unfathomable song. And we turned it into a similarly unfathomable video. It's incredible. It's ineffable. The video and the song is just completely ineffable. And I recommend you go listen to it. It's on Rumble and YouTube right now. Came out this past Friday. Go get updated.
I've learned to be strong. I won't let anyone say that I don't belong. I'm writing my story. I'm making my mark.
Do you want to know what?
Highlighting The Matrix.
Do you want to know?
The Matrix is the most incredible album I've ever made. It is the most incredible soundtrack I've ever made. It is ineffable, to say the least. And there's not quite any other album that exists that is like it. It's going to move nations. It's going to move people. It is the most unfathomable. Yes, I'm restating the same words because they are completely applicable. It is the most ineffable piece of work that I have ever come out with yet. And as you can see here, I need to get it done next month. Let's make it happen, baby.
What it is. The Matrix? The Matrix is everywhere. It is all around us. Even now, in this very room. You can see it when you look out your window or when you turn on your television. You can feel it when you go to work, when you go to church. It is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth. What truth? That you are a slave, Neo. Like everyone else, you were born into bondage, born into a prison that you cannot smell or taste or touch. A prison for your mind.
Incredible. And that, ladies and gents, concludes all of the updates for Luxury Updates. Incredible. What's even more incredible is that it looks like my Wi-Fi just took a shit. That's crazy. The speeds are insane. Why am I dropping frames? I hope it's been bearable. I hope you guys haven't been having to deal with bullshit. I didn't have this problem in the test. Awesome. I love it. So, let's get back to it. Thank you for joining us for a fantastic episode of Luxury Updates. As I continue to get new current information globally, within America, about technology, about mindset, about stoicism, about holistic medicine, anything I can find that will come to me through my algorithms, because I've designed them exactly like that. In fact, I may just speak briefly on this. I have actually been learning how to program AI and automate the process between user and AI. And truthfully, it is the most incredible thing that I think I've ever indulged in, aside from taking initiative and making music and making videos based on that music, or just making stories in general. In fact, I've lived a very erratic, a very unpredictable lifestyle, and I continue that journey. with all hope and with the ambition to always do good and greatness in the world. Now, this is just a very small form of exactly that, and this was much better than the last attempts, even though I have quite a bit of drop frames here. But if you stayed with us this long, thank you. And I hope you got something magical, wonderful out of this entire video. Preferably information that you didn't know about prior. And, you know, this might be a thing. I'm going to go get my holistic medicine book. And I'm going to provide solutions to a cure to a current problem. That'll be the closing. So let me go get my holistics book. And we will see what we can fix today. We will see what we can fix today. I have used this personally to heal a torn ACL. Believe it or not, did not go see the doctor. I used this book to heal my own torn ACL. So, in the book of contents, what shall we cure today in the holistic medicine industry? Because modern medicine is misconstrued. No. Well, that didn't help me, so let's see here. Oh, you know what? Here we go. Let's do... Okay, that's very extensive. Ooh. Tumors. Oh. Ah, here we go. Here's a great one. You know what? Ah, yes. Okay, so I recently had nerve damage. Well, the nerve damage wasn't recent, but I was recently feeling it. I was playing football with some guys last year around springtime, and I went to go catch the ball. It was thrown to me. It was thrown low, so I let my legs give out to try and catch it on the way down. Unfortunately, I did not catch the ball, but at the same moment that my arms impacted the ground, it was mainly the elbows, came down just like this, and a shock of pain went through my left arm, this exact arm. And from that point, I had quote-unquote nerve damage somewhere around my funny bone. And it has been coming in and out throughout the entire time of that instance until today. Unfortunately, it has gone away. It has disappeared again as I was waiting for my supplements to come in. Not really supplements as much as they are tinctures of oil and whatnot. But we will go to the nerve damage section. I will read off all of the different substances that are used to cure nerve damage, and I will speak briefly on the ones that I actually ended up buying. So, this is what makes this difficult, is that this section heals and cures the nervous system, brain, and head issues. So, and then they have a bunch of stuff in here like Alzheimer's disease, anxiety, epilepsy, dementia, depression, all this type of stuff. But I came over to this section here that says nerve pain, and I started going through the stuff. So, things to heal nerve pain, and granted, this is across the entire spectrum of nerve pain, whatever different kinds of nerve pains that there might be. I have nerve damage, so I went with something specific, and I will get onto that. But nerve pain, these are holistic cures for nerve pain, herbal specifically. Take notes if you're really interested in healing nerve pain and nerve damage. I won't read them so fast so that you can jot them down, but don't forget you can always rewind the video. Nope, that was memory loss, sorry. So, nerve pain. American basswood. Angelica. Bleeding heart. Cayenne pepper. Chickweed. Evening primrose. Henbane. Lavender. Peppermint. St. John's wort. And stinging nettle. These are all the different herbs that are designed. They are not designed. They are used to suppress nerve pain. Now, specifically for the nerve damage that I have, I ended up buying bleeding heart in a tincture, a little syringe. And I also bought St. John's wort. That didn't come with a syringe, but it is also in a tincture. And I actually have not applied those two oils to my arm because the pain went away. But when it decides to come back, I will use it and I will let you know how that goes. Now, you know, I'll just speak briefly on what I used to heal my torn ACL. In fact, I tore it once and then pulled it again a year after, which was this year. I actually did the rice method, which is I always forget the R. Rest. There we go. I always forget the R. Rest, ice, compress, and elevate. That is the rice method. Now, the only other thing I did was I used cayenne pepper. Now, I eat cayenne pepper on a daily basis. I actually sort of cover all of the food that I eat because I only eat one time a day. Once a day, around the same time frame, I take advantage of the circadian rhythm in this process, which I highly recommend you read up on. And I eat cayenne pepper like crazy. I actually have cut back from eating too much cayenne pepper because I hear that's not very good for you. So, aside from that, I put cayenne pepper on my wrap, or I should say my, I forget the term of the, it's like a stretchy band that is used for compression. So I put it, oh no, I didn't put it on the band. I put it on a towel. I sprinkled it on a towel, and then I put the towel on the direct contact of my skin, my leg, and I put a ice pack on top of that, and then I wrapped my leg. Now, granted, when you use an ice pack, typically your leg gets really cold, right? But with the cayenne pepper, as it was working on my leg, within half an hour, my leg started burning. Absolutely just felt like it was engulfed in flames. And granted, it hurt pretty bad. It stung. It didn't hurt, it stung. It was pretty annoying. But after half an hour, it started stinging, and I kept it on there for the next other half hour. So after an hour of applying the cayenne pepper to my leg, I took it off, washed off my leg. And when I had torn my ACL, I think I had done this 2 or 3 times, and I was walking. Well, I could support my leg after 3 days. After a week, I was walking like normal. The second time, when I only pulled my ACL, which was earlier this year, I used this method one time, and I could support my leg. I could support my leg after 24 hours. And I could walk. I could walk completely fine, like nothing had ever happened, within 36 hours of pulling it. Within 36 hours, I was walking completely fine. I still had swelling in my knee So after I had pulled it, I still had swelling in my knee for close to a week, but I could walk on my leg. Whereas the first time when I had actually torn it, I couldn't walk on it for a week. But after using these methods, I successfully have cured myself of this problem. So holistic medicine is the way to go, considering that modern medicine sort of just complicates explanations and diversifies this, like when I went in here to look at things like diabetes, my mom was telling me all these things about a specific form of diabetes that only like works with glycogen or whatever that is, and I was like trying to research everything on the internet that was according to this book as well, like similarly, and like everything was just pointing back to diabetes. So I was like, Mom, you sure you don't have diabetes? She was like, no, I don't have it, I've never been prescribed it, you know, I've never had it. And I was like, Mom, you have diabetes. But she didn't want to listen. Unfortunate, but someday, soon, I hope I will be able to accumulate enough information to where she would actually take me seriously, because this book has healed me successfully. After I do this nerve pain one, then I will have a full-blown testimony. In fact, I will encourage my father, who also has nerve pain in his back, to do exactly what I did. Maybe even use the same stuff that I have. So, yep. Incredible. And that is our topic for holistic medicine today. Nerve pain. I said all the herbs. You can go ahead and clip it. You can go research into that if you'd like. But, excuse me. This has been the first episode of Luxury Updates. And thank you for joining us, legends. We will have more information next week. And if you appreciate me and you appreciate this live stream, you could give me a follow. But what I would like more is for you to take action, given the information that you had watched, and do something progressive with your life if you're not already doing it. I would encourage you to reshape your mindset if you haven't done that, and I would encourage you to stay positive as possibly fucking possible, because when I decided I didn't want to be like everyone else and I wanted to be sort of like an anomaly in and of the wake, I realized that most people are negative. Not only are most people super negative, but other people are like kind of negative. Like their mind always goes back to the negativity, and like no matter what good they might feel, it always wanders back into the negativity. And I understood that as being my separation between me and the average mediocre man. And this was several years ago. It was probably like 7 or 8 years ago where I noticed this, and I started changing the things that I said, started changing the way I acted, started changing all of that. And truthfully, I consider myself somewhat of an anomaly. I may not have, support on the back end like a lot of people do, but that's what we're working for, baby. You know what I mean? And stay tuned, because the Matrix is going to move lives. It's going to move nations. It's going to be globally renowned, and I'm really excited to show you guys what I've been working on. So, with that being said, I appreciate all of you guys for tuning in, and stay happy, stay healthy, stay humble, stay blessed. See you on the next episode of Luxury Updates, baby.
If you're not drunk, ladies and gentlemen, get ready to get fucked up. Let's do it. LMFAO, you know it. Let's go. Yeah. All of the alcoholics, where you at? Let's go. If you ain't getting drunk, get the fuck out the club. If you ain't taking shots, get the fuck out the club. If you ain't come to party, get the fuck out the club. Now where my alcoholics? Let me see your hands up. 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 Hands up. Hands up. Hands up. Hands up. Hands up. want you, I need you, oh God.